The second form of virality that I like to think about a lot is actually now can you incentivize word of mouth? Can you get people to spread your product because it actually makes their lives more valuable? And I like to think of this a lot as like free money, but we see this a lot in products and it actually does really well. With PayPal, if you remember, they had a thing where, hey, get your friends to open an account and we'll put $10 in their account and $10 in yours. So of course, what's the first thing you do is you're gonna tell all your friends, please go open PayPal accounts. And if they get funded, you start accruing all this money in your account. Or Dropbox, where you would basically say, hey, please sign up for Dropbox and I'll get more gigs in my Dropbox and you'll get more gigs too. And gigs were such a part of the kind of economy of the early days of Dropbox because you had to pay for them. Or Airbnb does this with credits. And it's a really big channel for Airbnb because they say, hey, invite your friends to Airbnb and if they book a room, you'll both end up getting a credit. So there's a lot of ways to use this. It really does help though when your product kind of has a fundamental value. But you really want to think about these kind of in two fundamental ways. One is the give and get. Like when you're trying to do this incentivized word of mouth, you really want to make it not just that I'm like, hey, here's a discount for you, but if it actually gives the original sender a little bit of a discount too, they're much more incentivized to do it. And look, the benefit in all of these cases is these incentives should get you to use the product more. Like it's not, hey, sign up and we'll send you a free t-shirt, because a free t-shirt isn't really something that's going to make you use the product more. But if you send somebody Uber and you give them a $10 credit on Uber and you get a $10 credit yourself, what's the next thing you're going to do? You're going to take more Uber rides and you're going to spend through that $10 pretty quickly and keep on spending. Or in the case of Dropbox, you got more space. Now you're going to put even more stuff in your Dropbox that you're going to keep on filling it up. So you really want to find incentives that very, very deeply align your product. If you're a free product like a Facebook or an Instagram or something else, it's very hard to do incentivized word of mouth virality because that can cost you a heck of a lot of money quickly. But when you're a transaction-based product, it's okay to use it as long as the incentives get people hooked and kind of create this lifelong habit. But as I said, I already mentioned the t-shirt example, but it's very careful not to get the wrong incentives. When you go to the bank and they send you home with a little stuffed animal, that is not a great incentive that's tied to you really using the bank, although maybe it helps your brand affinity with the bank a little bit. But if they were like, hey, invite 10 of your friends for bank accounts and you'll get a free stuffed animal, that wouldn't be useful at all. So just really be careful with your incentives that they tie right back to the product. The third type, and this is one that I think is one of the most powerful forms of virality, in which I think gets pretty misunderstood and isn't kind of capitalized as much as it could be, is what I call demonstration virality. And this is really this core model that when you're using your product and other people you're sharing things, you're doing things in life, other people see you using that product, the first question they ask is, how did you do that? How did you make that beautiful photo? Or how did you get a car to show up for you on demand? Which, it's hard to remember, 5 or 6 years ago, it was impossible to get a cab in San Francisco, but your friend would walk out of their party with this cool new app and they'd be push a button and somebody would drive up to take them away and you're sitting there, how do I get a cab? Or I gotta go walk back to my car. So it's really powerful if you can kind of figure out how this demonstration virality can really feed into your product. And so, there's a whole bunch of products that this applies to really well. Obviously, I mentioned the Uber example. One that I'm an investor in called Musical.ly. How many of you guys know what Musical.ly is out there? Yes, that's a few of you. If you were 15 years old, the numbers would be much, much higher in the room. Musical.ly is this product on your phone where you can create a little music video. You can open it up, you can record a video, you can choose whatever song you want attached to it. It's all fully licensed. And you create a little music video, and people were creating these. And I invested about a year and a half ago. People were creating these and putting them on Instagram. And they'd be and what you would see in the Instagram comments was how'd you create that cool video? Where'd you get that song? How'd you make that happen? And people are oh, this new app Musical.ly. And influencers who wanted to figure out how to look cool and do new things, who had big followings on Instagram, would do the same thing. And then you'd see these comments and they'd be oh, you made it with Musical.ly. And even better, if you look up here at the graphic, you'll see the little made with Musical.ly in the bottom right corner. And it was amazing how well that spread and got picked up, where a lot of people would see these coming through on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and they'd be oh, how'd you do that? I want to go do that too. They would go download Musical.ly, make their own music videos, and then that ended up catching people into this network where they were exploring all the great content that was just made within Musical.ly. Instagram obviously followed the same scheme a few years earlier than that, when in order to get photos from your phone out to Twitter and Facebook, you would take pictures, put them through this beautiful filter that would make them square and look much, more updated than they would if they were just straight off your camera. And then you'd be posting them out to Facebook and Twitter, and they'd be like, how'd you get that photo? Yeah, I use this new thing called Instagram. And we think of these things now, Musical.ly and Instagram and Uber, as like pretty ubiquitous. But at those very early days, getting those loops right of like people were doing things and showing them off, and they were talking about it because you would see other people doing it, were just so fundamentally important to their growth.
Let me take a moment to thank at Squarespace for, first of all, making amazing software. I was just working on one of the new projects I'm working on. You may have heard of television show. And we had to make a website, and I just went on to Google Domains, and I was buying a domain over at Google Domains, and boom, you can just, when you're setting up your Gmail, fire up and launch Squarespace. I guess they're partners now. And I was able to fire up a gorgeous website in literally minutes, and it looked like we spent $25,000 making it. It looks professional. It's intuitive and easy to use. No coding is required. And they use state-of-the-art tech. It's super secure. It's super stable, and it's trusted by millions, some of the most respected brands in the world. We, in fact, use it for all of our events and conferences, and you can start your free trial today. No credit card is required. And you'll get a free domain name if you sign up for a year. I'm an idiot. I did it wrong. I signed up at the wrong domain place. I didn't know that I would get a free domain. I got to go back and do that next time. If you decide to sign up for Squarespace, if you do decide that you're going to sign up for Squarespace, which I'm sure you will, just use the promo code TWIST and you'll get 10% off your first purchase. It is an amazing, amazing product. It's super easy to use, and they keep adding features to it, which is one of the great things about the software as a service movement. They keep getting more people loyal to the product. They keep being able to hire more product managers, developers, and researchers to figure out what to make next. And boom, they make amazing product, and they keep the price the same. So things are getting better and better over there at Squarespace. I love the product. Go ahead and follow at Squarespace.